Welcome back to How to Cake It. I'm Yolanda and it's Taco Tuesday, so I caked the biggest taco of all. I'm gonna taco to you. Wait, I'm gonna taco about it right now.
No.
Yeah, I feel like I could take this to donut level. For this giant taco, I only need to bake one cake, but it's one really big cake. I baked a 16-inch round chocolate cake. 16 inches is the biggest round pan that I own.
Can you show us how big is 16 inches? Okay, because European. I only know centimeters.
Oh, I should technically talk in centimeters.
Yeah.
Because Canada is, but I don't because I'm rebellious. When you level your cake, make sure to save the hump. We're gonna use the hump this time. And the next thing I wanna do is cut it in half perfectly so I have 2 semicircles. Cut with a serrated knife along my ruler. Now I can simple syrup both halves of my cake with the help of Sir Squeeze. Mother's Day is coming up and we have a great sale at howtocakeit.com up to 40% off. It's really the best way to get your mom to bake for you. That's not gonna work for my son, but you can even pick up my cake book, which has an easier version of a taco cake, and I actually use real tortillas. It's time to fill this cake. Basically, I'm using the 2 halves of my circle to create one cake that's in the shape of a taco. So I lay 1 half down. Then what I'm going to do is pipe a fence of chocolate ganache around the perimeter of my half circle. And then I'm going to put a big dollop of Italian meringue buttercream in the center and spread it within the perimeter of the fence. And now I can place my second half moon cake on top. Once my cake is sandwiched together nicely, I'm gonna crumb coat the entire thing with chocolate ganache and chill. But because my cake is lying down, I technically only crumb coated one side and then what will be the top and bottom. So now that that crumb coat is chilled, I'm gonna flip my cake over. So now I have the one side face up that has no crumb coat. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna crumb coat and chill it.
Nice.
Thank you. So now all sides of my cake have been crumb coated and chilled. So what I'm going to do is ice my cake. Again, this time it's just what will be the top, the bottom, and the side that's face up. And then I'm gonna roll out my perfectly corn taco colored fondant, making sure it is wider than my cake because I definitely have to have a lip on the taco. That will be where all the toppings are held. And now I need to texture it. Guess what I'm using? Orhan.
A ruler?
To make texture? The turkey skinator.
Oh, the turkey skinator.
How dare you forget? So the lovely people at Marvelous Molds made me my own turkey skinator mold. Orhan, there's footage of me peeling this off of this. So basically I laid my turkey skinator on the fondant and then I used my rolling pin to roll on top of it and just press that texture into my fondant. Now I carefully pick up the fondant and drape it over my taco. So here's where it gets tricky. Because of gravity, that extra fondant naturally wants to fall down over the side. I can't have that. So as soon as I cover the cake, I trim away some of the excess, but then I put a board on top and flip the cake over. So now all that excess fondant is lying flat on a board.
How would it be to like...
Are you gonna ask me cake in outer space?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm not sure knowing if we can cake in space. I'm not sure where that falls on the list of importance.
I think it's pretty important.
I think it's not on the list.
Do you want to ask?
And I'm a cake decorator. But now the problem I'm having is the fondant that is covering the base of the taco, what will be the base of the taco, it extends out from the sides and I need it to remain flat. But because of gravity, it wants to fold over now. So I used like 4 fondant smoothers and lined them up against the fondant, trying to keep it upright and in place. And then I placed my cake in the fridge to chill. I need my fondant to firm up so that I can get a nice clean cut later on. My fondant is chilled and what I need to do now is trim it. So I made myself a template that's basically how do I say this? It's like an outline of a semicircle. So I can lay it against the side of my cake, or what will be the top of my cake, on the fondant, and then trim along. And this way I know that the lip that will extend up off my taco will be all the same width. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
There's footage.
I think we just discovered the new big breakthrough in cake decoration.
What?
Most of your problems will be solved in no gravity.
How would they be solved? It would just be me and a cake floating away.
Yeah, but
that's not gonna solve anything.
Very
I'm
true.
sure that NASA will be, if we call them right now, first of all, they'll answer. And second, they'll be like, we have to do this, clearly. It's an important mission. So I have to cover the top of the taco, and what I need to do is remember to ice it. So I spread on a layer of ganache, and then I roll out more of my corn taco colored fondant. I turkey skinnate it, and then I drape it over the second half of my taco.
Turkey skinnate terrify.
I don't think it's turkey skinnatorify.
You're shooting down all my suggestions today, Yolanda.
You lost me at no gravity. Like, as soon as you suggested that I make a cake in no gravity, I was like, I'm through with him. And once again, I have to flip the cake over so that I can let this fondant lay flat before I cut. The good thing is the base is already covered, so I don't have any parts that are affected by gravity at the moment. See? Winning! I made sure to hide the seam by cutting it along the base of the cake, because at the end of the day, the cake is going to stand upright, and then there's going to be talkings. Taco toppings should be called toppings. All right, so it's time to stand the taco up. This cake is super heavy. I sort of like lifted up the board and placed it on another board. It's massive. It's massive. What I want to do is paint the shell of my taco, because even though it's a really great taco color, it needs a little bit more. For this, I'm mixing Buttercup yellow with some clear food grade alcohol. And then while the paint is still wet, I'm gonna throw on some coffee granules. Make sure to paint sort of the top rim, the whole side, and then inside of the shell.
Nice t-shirt, Yolanda.
Thank you. This is the cake on the cover of my book, and it says Cake Queen. I need to tell them this. So today, before we sat down to film this, I was like, what t-shirt am I wearing again? And then 5 minutes later, Orhan screams out, Cake Queen, and I was like, yes! True story. True story. And you can still get this design for the next couple of days if you sign up for our deluxe membership now. Let's taco about the toppings we're gonna put on this taco. Yes, so Cody and I had several in-depth conversations. We came to the conclusion that it should be meat, cheese, lettuce, tomato, sour cream, and olives. Yeah, I like customizable foods.
Me too.
I also enjoy most foods in shells, although I can't think of another one. To make the meat, I love doing this. To make the meat for my taco, I'm using a chocolate cereal that's like little balls of chocolate. It's like a puffed cereal. Then I'm also gonna add to that, remember our big giant cake hump? And what I'm gonna do is flip the hump over and use a spoon to just scoop out some cake goodness. And I'm gonna crumble that cake hump into my chocolate cereal. Then I'm adding some dark chocolate covered raisins, because these remind me of black beans, into the bowl. And now I'm gonna pour in some melted chocolate candy melts. It's really like a chocolate salad, but it's supposed to look like meat.
You just discovered something that's like, should have been a thing already.
Right.
Chocolate salad.
So now I apply this meat mixture to my taco on sort of both ends and make sure it's sort of coming up to the same level. Okay, so we're filling in that whole rim with this chocolate salad that looks like meat. And then I just spot on, and then I add some more chocolate covered raisins to the surface. I just put them on here and there so we can really see them. So complete the other end of your taco in the same way. And in the meantime, we could put the cake in the fridge to chill. While the meat is setting up, it's time to move on to cheese. You've seen me do this with a lot of cakes. It's just white modeling chocolate that I have dyed a very cheesy orange. Normally what I do is I grate it, like on lasagna, mac and cheese. Because this taco is giant, if I actually grate it, the cheese will look like mini cheese on a giant taco.
Yeah.
So what I did was I pushed my modeling chocolate through my lasagna pasta attachment that fits onto my stand mixer. And then I'm just gonna chill those sheets. Once the modeling chocolate is firm enough to work with, I pull it back out and I use I haven't used this in a while, Orhan. You know my tool that's for like dicing vegetables, but it cuts strips?
Yeah.
You know, the rolling vegetable slicer? So I used that. So now I have these big sort of flat strands of cheese that look like giant grated cheese. I'm very proud of myself. Now I'm gonna prepare my lettuce. For this, I'm using some coconut chips and I need to dye this coconut so it looks more like chopped lettuce. I'm mixing together a little bit of neon green food coloring with a bit of food grade alcohol. Then I'm gonna pour in some water because I need quite a bit of this mixture. And I'm going to then pour all of my coconut chips into this water. It actually made me think of when I was a kid and we would make Jell-O. I had such a vivid memory because Jell-O is so like overly colored. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm just making some green water. Now I have to let them sit. So just check it after 5 minutes. For me, it was perfect. And now what I'm going to do is spoon it out into a strainer and just strain off all that excess water and color. And then to dry my coconut shards, I'm laying them out on a paper towel on a baking tray. For the tomato, I ended up choosing Swedish berries, and to make it look like chopped tomato, I just cut off the top and then I cut them all in half. When I'm cutting gummy candies, I like to use a sharp knife and brush it with a little vegetable oil so that I can stop my knife from getting too sticky. So just keep cutting Swedish berries until you have a bowl full of chopped tomato. To have them ready for the taco, I'm just gonna mix a little bit of watered down piping gel with my Swedish berries. And this is because tomatoes are one of those fruits that like, well, they always look wet. You know what I mean? When you cut it, the inside is very juicy, hopefully. There's nothing worse than a dry tomato. Don't talk to me about dry tomatoes. I will get upset. It's like, you know when you get like, when you cut open a tomato or an apple or orange, don't talk to me about dried oranges. I will get so mad. Anyway, deep breaths, I'm moving on.
Relax.
For my olives, I am using traditional British licorice. I think it's supposed to look like a pence, like money. So one side of it is imprinted, but the other side of it is completely flat. And all I'm gonna do is use a large round piping tip to cut the center out of the licorice. Are you ready to top this taco?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine eating a taco in space.
Mm.
That would be messy. That'd be horrible. And then you'd be in the air like, this might be an episode that went like ridiculously. Like I made a giant taco. It's very simple. I love tacos. I have a taco cake in my book. We made tacos at Camp Cake. So I made a giant one because that's so how to cake it. And now we're talking about space. I have no idea how we got here. I pull my taco cake back out. Remember, the meat is already in the shell. Now I'm going to add my cheese. Remember to do both ends of the taco. I just love the way it looks. At this point, this is the point where I get super excited because it's like coming together. Yeah. Then I add my lettuce on both ends of the taco. By now I'm sort of almost up at the top of the taco. So I start to spoon on my tomato mixture. Now it's time for sour cream. So for this, of course, I'm using buttercream.
I love sour cream.
Do you?
And I love buttercream.
So you approve of this?
Oh yeah.
Because Cody, you don't do sour cream on tacos.
What? No. Seriously, you don't use sour cream on your tacos?
Does not. I can't side eye him because he's in front of me. I'm front eyeing. Hold on. Cody.
It's pretty good.
Hold on. Cody. Oh, olives. So now I'm going to sprinkle. When I say sprinkle, I mean intentionally place the licorice rings that look like olives on top. So for those of you who are going to make this cake at home, it's your taco. You make it any way you want. You want peppers? You put them in. You don't want sour cream? You don't put it in.
Oh,
I'm sorry. You must put sour cream in. Guys, is there anything you put on your tacos that I didn't put on this cake? Leave a comment below. I wonder what the weirdest thing is gonna be. Thank you for watching. Have a great Taco Tuesday, everyone, but make sure to have some cake after your tacos. It's really not fair that there's no day of the week that begins with C. If you need even more cake, check out our Colorful Cakes compilation, the CCC, right here, and I will see you next week.